Well, that's market, isn't it? We got a lot of big news to cover for today. China just retaliating against U.S. tariffs. We got a lot to cover. There's a lot of stuff going on. Markets are looking pukey right now. I want to look at the charts for Bitcoin, some altcoins, the NASDAQ. It's gonna be a good time, guys. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this. We got a lot to cover. Answer your questions second half stream, and some of them throughout the stream as well. Why the heck not? Let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So these are some days, man. These are some days. I know what you're thinking. Wait a second. This isn't making America great again. This is anal sex. Yeah, feels like one of those days. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 are both now on pace for the worst days since the COVID crash. That was from yesterday. Worst days since the COVID crash 2020. So this trade war is as bad. The market is freaking out as much as the effing COVID crash, where they literally shut down the entire global economy. Now, there is a lot of fear going on right now, and there's a lot of good reasons for that fear. Tariffs at these levels are no bueno, man. That's going to cause a lot of countries, unless they come to the negotiating table, to go into horrific recessions. We're talking total global recession here. It is some serious hardball being played, and the repercussions are yet to be fully understood and seen. And yeah, we'll see how we go. AA2 bears now at 61.9%, highest since March 2009 bear market bottom. People are as afraid now as they were at the literal bottom of the great financial crisis. Let's see how we go. Let's see how we go, of course. Jesse Cohen, stock futures pointing to another rough session on Friday. Not only do we get the bad news from China, which we'll be sharing more on in a second, non-farm payrolls are coming out today at 8:30. Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking at 11:25. So, interesting. A lot of stuff today. Those jobs numbers are going to be really heavily looked at by the markets. And Jerome, what's Papa Powell going to tell us, man? I don't know. We're going to find out. Oh, geez, Louise, we're already down 3%. And last time I looked, it was 2%. We're already down 3% in the futures markets today. That is brutal. Brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. Wowzers. Another savage day coming. It's going to be a brutal close today for the stock markets. The VIX absolutely pumping. This is a volatility index, so it's up to 40 right now. Now, to put that in perspective for you, the yen crisis last year got us up to the mid-60 range. So this probably pumps throughout the day. I would not be surprised. I feel like U.S. markets are going to be pretty damn pukey when they open up. For a bit of context, March 11, 2020, we got up to 80. Don't know if we get that high, but I would expect this is going to be a day when that volatility index ramps right up. Now, does that mean we're going to be closer to a bottoming moment? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how it goes. But brutal close yesterday for the S&P 500. Very brutal. Probably going to be another brutal close today. I mean, if we are really going to gap down another 4%, let's say 3% from the current prices, that's bringing us back down to around 5,200, let's say, which this probably becomes a very interesting area for the stock markets. Whether or not this is truly an area where we can find some of that price support or not remains to be seen. But let's see. Let's see how it is. It's an interesting place. Very interesting place. I mean, that's sort of the lows of 24 and during the yen carry trade sell-off, which wild to think about, right? Let's say we start closing under that, like literally an entire year's price action just erased. Bear market stuff, man, just bear market things. 5,000 probably remains a pretty damn key level here for the S&P 500. You can see that's, of course, the April 19th. And that was like World War III fears. Everyone's, oh my gosh, Iran and Israel and all this kind of stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So let's see what happens here over the next few days. But definitely markets are freaking the F out right now, man, for good reason. For good reason. We are entering pretty uncharted territories here, guys, and nobody truly knows what's going to happen. Okay? Hey, look, by the way, guys, if you're trading the cryptocurrency markets, you want a good place to do that out? Look, I know markets are grim right now, but guess what? You can make money going either way on the markets. You can long the relief rallies. You can short the rejections at resistance, rejections at the 20-day EMA, all that kind of stuff. You're going to need a great exchange to do it on. Check out BitUnix. Great exchange to be doing your trading on. Deep liquidity, very hot exchange these days. And you got some great deals by using that link down below. Not only can anybody anywhere use Bit Unix, being that doesn't matter where you live, you can go sign up to Bit Unix, start trading over there. Okay? That's the first thing. Second thing, no KYC, by the way. Second thing, when you use the link down below, you can get $10 for free. It's just an account sign-up bonus. Plus, you can get a 20% deposit bonus. You deposit $2,000, get $400 back, and you get $500 in trading rewards. Go check it out. Link down below in the description. So, lots of interesting things here. Look, Donald Trump just asked about the stock market's reaction to his tariffs. He said, oh, it's going very well. The market is going to boom. Probably, just not really soon. Yeah. Anyway, Trucker Mike from New Zealand. What's up, man? Dope. Representing in the house, man. Nice to see you. It's an interesting statement there, Donald. The market did go boom, but not in the boom. Oh my gosh, it's going up. Boom is in, oh my gosh, it's all going to absolute shit. That's crazy. Anyway, when all the tariff nonsense clears out, then things will get better. It's true. It's true. How long it takes this tariff nonsense to resolve itself, how much damage needs to be inflicted before that happens, remains to be seen. US 10 years, by the way, 10-year bonds, they're trading under 4% yield today, so it's working. What Trump and dissent wanted was to get those long-term yields down, and it's exactly what's happening. They're just engineering a giant stock market crash and potential recession to do it. Good job, guys. Good job. Oh my gosh. Senators have introduced the Trade Review Act, which would require Congress to approve new tariffs within 60 days or they'd automatically expire. Shots fired across the bow, man. Interesting. I don't know if they are going to try to assert their authority over the executive branch, bring in that check to power, but that's interesting. Nevertheless, we'll see how that plays out, of course. Be very much an undermining, but you got to remember, the Republicans control the House and the Senate right now, so maybe that doesn't get very far. Eric Balkunis, bearish but long. Regardless of what you hear on here in the headlines, the reality is most people, when it comes to their PA, are likely to keep investing in their cheap index funds. VOO and chill is more powerful than most think. I've seen it survive much worse. Okay. Lee, I stand with the over-tariffed penguins of the herd in McDonald Islands. It's a black and white. Fantastic. That's hilarious. I'm sure a lot of you guys heard that apparently the herd in McDonald Islands were somehow included, where nobody lives except penguins, by the way, on the tariff list. Tom Lee, man, said, I still expect a V-shaped recovery, but the time is hard to judge because we don't have a Band-Aid fully ripped off yet until April 9th, when all the reciprocal tariffs come into play. So we might see that VIX spike today. I mean, stock futures are looking savage right now, down 3% currently. So let's see how that plays out. But bad day today, probably a bad day on Monday. But we should start to see a lot of the worst news headlines come in by then. How much lower we get between now and then remains to be seen. We'll find out. Heading into a low liquidity weekend for the crypto markets. I mean, so many people have already sold out. I mean, who's left to sell at this point? I guess there's always somebody who's left to be a late seller, but geez Louise, man. Anyway, April 9th, next week, we might see some kind of certainty breeze into the markets, but how much damage is done between now and then? That remains to be seen. But hey, Tom Lee, still bullish, man. Let's go. Watcher Guru shared this. President Trump says that every country called to negotiate tariffs. Of course, everyone's calling because basically nobody can afford for this to happen. All this, Vietnam, they got a call, man. Canada, I know, the WEF puppet, Mark Carney, who's currently in charge of Canada. He's out there, trying to play tough guy. But most of these countries are going to make a deal because why wouldn't they want access to U.S. markets? Just make the effing deal, guys. It's going to be good for everybody. It's going to be good for everybody. Interesting. Apparently, China did call, but just called up to say, fuck you, man. Apparently, because China has just announced an additional 34% tariff increase on U.S. goods and restrictions on rare earth minerals. Now, the rare earth mineral thing is a very problematic thing because everybody needs rare earth minerals for everything. But a massive deposit of rare earth minerals has just been discovered in, I think, Texas. So it's gonna take a bit of time to get there, start extracting that, et cetera, et cetera. It's not overnight that this stuff happens. I'm sure they're putting a lot of attention into it. I think Trump even called in the sort of the War Powers Act to War Powers Production Act to try to get to those minerals much quicker, right? Yeah, I agree here, William. China is the second largest economy. Trump can't push them around. I thought in all this situation is that for the most part, most countries are just going to bend the knee because they don't really want to get into a trade war with America. They can't afford it. They'll just do the deal because why the hell not? Fine. But China's going to play hardball. China doesn't need to do a deal, and they don't want to appear weak. They don't want to lose face, all that kind of stuff. So they're going to fight back. And there's going to be some pretty tough negotiations, and that could last a long time. Remember, back in 2018, we had all kinds of market turmoil when they were just talking about a trade war between China and the U.S. over just some steel tariffs and bullshit like that, let alone everything against everyone. This is a major regime change in the global economic order, and it should be treated as such. And we are in for a lot of volatility and headline risk right now. But then there is good news. There are people who are apparently heeding the call and just doing business, man. Okay, check this out. The Taiwan Semiconductor Company, TSMC, one of the biggest semiconductor manufacturers in the world, the company for semiconductors, they said they're going to make a chip making plant in America. Because, of course, they're going to, man. There's no plan. They put a tariff on that. I mean, come on. Look, man, everybody knows that those penguins have been abusing the U.S. trade system for years. I mean, come on. Penguins are the worst abusers of the trade system. I know you know. I know you know that. I know you. Come on. You can't trust penguins, man. Have you seen penguins? You think you can trust penguins? No. Anyway, continuing. Jokes aside, deals are being made, okay? Argentina reportedly in final negotiations with the United States to become the first zero tariff country. Deals will be made. Some are going to push a lot harder. Like China has the option to push harder. So they will, okay? They're not just going to bend the knee. They're going to put up a show of strength. They're going to fight back. Fine. Argentina here, they're making the deal. A lot of countries are going to make the deal, okay? Others might fight back, like the European Union. We're going to see what they're going to say. I know Ursula von der Leyen, she said, oh, we're going to retaliate and stuff like that, but it's the path of most resistance. Everyone's egos get in play here, right? Instead of just saying, well, the U.S. is one of our most valuable trading partners. We want access to U.S. markets. Fuck it, make the deal. They're going, whoa, fight back now, man, and make it harder for everybody. I think the countries that do the deals are going to get some pretty good deals. The countries that fight back, it's not going to be worth it, probably in the end. Because again, everybody wants to get access to U.S. markets. Okay? There you go. Anyway, Bitcoin selling off. We did have a nice little rally today up to $84,500. That was great. Nice to see. Then, of course, China came out with that news. So it is interesting that, to an extent, China obviously was a bit of a wild card today to some extent, but that before that happened, Bitcoin was performing very, very well, especially by comparison to how this literally stock futures were down 1%, and Bitcoin is up like 4 or 5% or whatever. Fascinating show of strength in the face of so much uncertainty. Now, obviously dumping with the most recent news, but still, let's see how Bitcoin performs over the weekend. It's way too early to say that, hey, this is going to be some kind of hedge from economic uncertainty. Bitcoin usually trades more like a tech stock versus gold. But it may show surprising strength during all this, which would be a great sign if it does. CryptoCon saying, when nearly everyone else is bracing for a bear market or recession to strike, I will not be joining in. People were not prepared for a slower Bitcoin cycle, much like 2015, 2017, but that's exactly what we've got so far. There's been no true bull run parabolic. The cycle is true. There really hasn't been any major bull run moves this cycle. Now, look, there has been bullish impulses in the market, right? We had early 2024. We had maybe 2 months of bullish price action. We had late 2024, maybe 2 months of bullish price action. And look, obviously, taking some profits off the table during that time, not a bad idea, right? But we haven't had any sort of, maybe we just need to throw it all out the window. None of it matters anymore. None of the on-chain indicators matter anymore. All these things we traditionally look for, none of it really matters anymore, perhaps. Okay. Now, whether or not we get up to 150K or 200K or whatever later this year, short term doesn't really matter because everyone's getting their asses kicked right now. Okay. I know a lot of people only came into top last in December and January, and that's hard. Okay. And that's hard. I get it. But if you can survive the next few months, and look, it may get a lot worse before it gets better. Okay. You have to understand we are in a major part of global economic upheaval. The market was ready to get bullish as fuck if it was only going to be 10% tariffs. And then Trump came out with that damn chart and all these insane levels of tariffs, just really heavy-handed tactics, try to force everybody to the negotiating table and to have more leverage and have a better position. It's standard bargaining tactics, right? If you go into a shop in Thailand to buy a t-shirt, man, what do they say when it's gonna be $20? It's really a $3 shirt, man, but they're gonna ask you for $20 because they set the bar so hard in your mind. They're like, oh well, I'm gonna be a responsible bargainer. I'll give you $10, and then they say, okay, well, $15, and you feel like you got this great deal. You got it for 25% less, but they still sold it for a 500% markup. Anyway, we'll see how it plays out, but CryptoCon here also saying the data structure on the 3-week SCATSCAR side looks extremely similar to cycle 2, a short drop from phase 1, a longer drop from phase 2, and phase 3 around all-time highs. What I believe this means for you is that most of the good stuff from this cycle is still left to go. It's not easy to believe in something that's not currently happening, but I'm doing this the entire cycle and won't be stopping now. I dig it. I dig it. Continuing. That being said, we've got a lot of very bad-looking charts. Very bad-looking charts across a variety of things. Now, we've been talking about charts looking increasingly suspect since the bullish or the bearish MACD weekly crossover, which happened a few weeks back. We've been seeing a continual development of negative price action since that moment. Now, this is the total 3 that Tony's here pointing out for us. You can see multi-year uptrend. It's been held so far. Currently, we're sitting right on support of that uptrend. The question with a monthly MACD bearish crossover in play, the question is whether or not we can have any kind of meaningful bounce here, or if this is really just that's the end of the trend. That was it, man. That was your bull market, the lamest bull market ever, the worst returns for Bitcoin over a previous all-time high of any cycle ever, and that's it. And come back in a year or two, see what happens. We shall see. We shall see. We never got any meaningful movement in altcoins, and there's a lot of reasons why that may be the case. Look, unless you were hyper gambling on meme coins last year, you probably didn't get insane returns. So there were some coins that did pretty well. Let's not argue that. But they are very, very few and far between, right? The market as a whole didn't perform very well. A lot of coins that have great fundamentals didn't perform very well, which is fine. That can happen in markets. So we'll see how this plays out, but there are some extreme warning signs right across markets, not just in crypto, but in stocks and all that kind of stuff as well. Sending some pretty warning signs. We're probably in for a lot more economic turmoil, even if we, you would need a complete resolution of all tariff conversations in the next couple of weeks in order for us to say, okay, mega market reversal. And probably in the next few weeks, we're going to get a lot of movement in the positive direction on tariffs. We'll see how the Chinese and European negotiations go, of course. But probably a lot more of the stuff's going to get negotiated and resolved than people are currently pricing into the market. That being said, there's a lot of headline risk and there's a lot of fear, and people are panicking across the markets. Okay, it's not just crypto now. Stock markets are panicking too and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Still, though, we still have global M2 money supply going up. Trucker Mike saying, do you think these changes to world trade will stop Bitcoin following the M2 money supply? Well, it's a 1 in 5 chance. Is this the 1 in 5 time that we don't follow the M2 money supply up, that M2 pumps and assets just keep on dumping forever? It's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible, markets, right? But there's still, I think, a decent enough chance that if by the end of April, a lot can happen in a few days, guys. This is the thing. If by the end of April, stock markets have taken a big fat dump and found some kind of bottoming moment, and it's going to take them months and months to recover from there. But they find some kind of bottoming moment, and we get adequate movement on negotiations around tariffs, stuff like that. Maybe then, okay, crypto markets, in the same way crypto markets started dumping before equity markets did, maybe crypto markets start recovering before equity markets do. Right? We led down, but we might lead back up. And so that then brings us to the end of April, start of May, where we start getting altcoin ETFs, where we start getting M2 money supply taking up. The Fed comes out with an interest rate cut in May, and that sort of provides tailwinds for a bullish impulse in May and June. Now, does that mean that it's going to be straight back up to new all-time highs or something? Not necessarily. That's probably still a situation where there's a lot of fear in the markets. You might get this incredible relief rally off those sort of bullish narratives. You might even get a triple top coming in. That would be interesting. Before, of course, further downturns later in the year with Q2 earnings reports coming in, being absolutely dog shit, and more panic in the market over the summers as low liquidity seasons come in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. There's still a window for all this to happen. It's just it's a closing window rapidly all the time. I was checking back on our futures here. Not looking fantastic. There we go. All right. Anyway, let's just bring up a few altcoin charts here real quick for fun. XRP still at the bottom of the triangle, man. Interesting. Bounced off the 200-day EMA today. Technically bullish, but it's hard to feel bullish on any bounces right now with the market generally being in such a bearish trend. But something to watch out for. If XRP maintains above the 200-day EMA, purple line on the chart here, right here, then okay. Maybe there's some long attempts there, but probably if markets continue to be very pukey as they are, and there's more panic and fear in the markets, then you actually want to watch out for a break below the 200-day EMA for a potential short here on XRP. Okay. That could bring you targets all the way down to like $1.50 right here, key support zone, or depending on how bad it gets, even down to about $1. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to be offended by that, XRP fans. That's just charts, man. That's just charts. So far, XRP has been a very strong chart. It's been holding up above here. But if you break into the 200-day EMA, chaos can happen real fast. Okay, remember, nothing good happens under the 200-day EMA, which is where most coins are right now. Fuck. Anyway, front runners saying a few days ago we saw a capitulation on Ethereum. Old dormant ICO whales began moving and offloading ETH after years of holding. Now we're seeing similar behavior on Solana. One wallet spent 8 hours on staking $37 million worth of Solana and depositing to Binance. Brutal. I mean, I'm sure this guy probably made some money, man, but damn, that's a lot of Solana being dumped right there in a relatively illiquid market. Then you have positive stuff like this. SEC officially acknowledges Fidelity spot Solana ETF filing. Man, we're gonna get a Solana, an XRP, a Dogecoin, and a Litecoin ETF like at the end of April when the markets are at their absolute shittiest, aren't we? And no one's gonna give a shit about it. You watch. That'd be hilarious. Just like the ETH one, man. Anyway, Solana chart looking super rough, like most charts right now. Really nothing to like here about this. Lost that support around 123, rejected at the 20-day EMA. Lots of air down below, basically. Let's see how we go. But a return down to, if equity markets keep puking and if crypto markets continue to fall along, and if crypto markets haven't already timed in a lot of the worst, priced in a lot of the worst in the markets right now, then you could see $100 Solana or even back down to like the $80 zone as sort of next key price targets. But let's see, right? We're not there yet, but we're not showing a lot of strength either. So things can get worse before they get better. Milk Road sharing this. Jupiter pulled in $19.7 million in profits throughout March. Half that went back into token buys. Now, that's pretty interesting. So that's $10 million of token buybacks. Yeah. on a $350 million market cap coin or something like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. I dig it. I dig it. Chart looks like total ass though, like everything though. There you go. Classic. Let's see how we play out. Avalanche, big news. That doesn't really matter for the charts, but big news nevertheless. Another major step for tokenized finance and Avalanche. Wisdom Tree Funds, a global financial firm with $100 billion plus assets under management, is expanding its tokenized fund offering to Avalanche. Wisdom Tree Connect brings the largest suite of 13 SEC-registered tokenized funds into the ecosystem. Chart don't give a shit about it. Rejected at 20-day EMA. Price heading lower with everything else. Fartcoin did have a bit of rally today, but all rallies are pretty short-lived on the current situation here, guys. So rallies are to be faded until otherwise proven, okay? With so much headline risk, I wait for the EU to retaliate today. They might have to put the damn limit breakers on today for the stock markets. We'll get that rough. Let's see how it goes, though. Certainly with a 3% futures down, not looking good for stock markets today. Are there any good airdrops that you're farming right now? I have not been farming any. You know what? I have to start farming some more airdrops. I'll get back to you on that. Jesse gave me a good list of airdrops to farm the other day. I've been kind of zoned out of airdrops for a while, but I think we're all going to have some time on our hands here. So, yeah. If crypto doesn't recover, you don't have to take your ball and go home. There are always hedges, metals, are easy, real estate, etc. Yeah, there's always places to make money, guys. Always places to make money. Stay positive, okay? Stay positive. Gavin, what would have to occur for you to conclude this bull market is well and truly over and we aren't coming back this year? I mean, we're getting pretty close to a lot of major invalidation points. Bitcoin currently still trading over the 50-week EMA. I think we lose the 50-week EMA, start trading under sort of, if you put a weekly candle sort of around 70K, it's over probably, right? You can always bounce back immediately the next week, but most likely it's over, right? For a lot of intents and purposes, we've been in a pretty rough situation since the MACD weekly bear cross, but you start trading under the 50-week EMA and it's probably over for a bit at that point, unfortunately. And we're pretty close to that, but we're not there yet. That requires us to get down to, well, let's put it on the chart here. Why don't we? So let's try to open that. Where is that at? Here. Throw the weekly chart on there. Yeah, right here it's at $77,000. So wicks under, fine. Candle close under, it's probably over, man. Now, that's, of course, a late confirmation signal, obviously, but that's sort of, let's say, final line in the sand. Although you got to realize we're currently trading under the 200-day EMA, which is not good either. Nothing good happens under the 200-day EMA. That's bearish right there, okay? Now, we can have that short-term bearish signal from being under the 200-day EMA, but realistically, we've gone through a major change of global economic policy here, worse than anybody could have thought initially, right? I think a lot of people thought, well, tariffs are going to be limited or they're not going to be that. Oh, no, he went full nuclear on it, man. And that is not good for a variety of reasons. So let's see what plays out here. But overall, I think there's a major regime change under play here that's probably going to take some months at the very least to work itself out. So can we get a major relief rally in May and June? Absolutely. Will that just be a relief rally? Most likely. Okay. And that, if it does play out, probably a great chance to take some more money off the table if you haven't already. Because then Q3 or Q2 earnings reports come in, they start looking negative, all that stuff. But let's see. Again, we may just have a very much extended cycle, or the cycles as we know them may simply be over. I think that's an even more potential scenario where this whole concept that we've had previously about 4-year cycles and these on-chain indicators need to happen and all that stuff, maybe none of that shit matters anymore. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just those times are over. And yeah, coincidentally, when we get a big blow off top eventually in the market, whenever that happens, then sure, that'll play out too. But this currently, you could say, is to an extent similar to the 2021 mid-cycle lull, right? The problem is that it's not a great comparison because we're in such uncharted waters right now with the global macro situation. This is a tariff war of unprecedented level, and the markets don't like it. The markets are showing you very, very clearly they are freaking the F out, man, and they do not appreciate what's going on currently. So that alone signals that we're probably going to be in for some pretty shaky markets here for a while. Global liquidity is going up. Bitcoin will fall later. The F are you talking about? Patricio says. It's like I said, 80% of the 83% of the time actually we correlate to global M2, which if you're a betting person and you want to bet on those odds, that's a pretty good odd to bet on. I still think we have a good potential for that to happen. 1 in 5 chance, though, or a 17% chance that this is the time we don't correlate because of the macro situation. But it all remains to be proven. Let's see what happens over the next few weeks. Again, I don't want to go back over it too much, but just to tell you, Patricio, there's a lot of things going to happen between now and the end of April when we would probably start catching up to M2 that could put wind in the sails of the market. We could get negotiations, tariff fears could lessen, M2 starts pumping all that stuff, some inflation data comes in looking better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and things are okay. And everybody realizes the sky is not falling. But let's see. Maybe we have to wait till Q4. Maybe we have to wait till Q3. What else are you guys doing, man? You don't need to get rich overnight. Just be patient. More pain ahead, Lark, or should we be close to the bottom? Well, it's hard to say. Where's the, well, you know, we might actually be getting a lot closer than you think. Let's have a look here. The VIX, the volatility index. Now that is what we want to see, actually. It's up to 45. Good. Keep pumping. Let's go. VIX at 45 is encouraging that we're heading in the right direction. Okay. So March, say 10th to the 20th or whatever, we had VIX basically above 45 to 60. This is literally the COVID crash. The entire world economy shut down. Worse than a trade war and a bunch of tit for tat tariffs, okay? Literally the whole world shut down, okay? Right there. So the S&P 500 at that time, let's go back and find that. It's like a blip on the radar now. There it is. Okay, so this was that, okay? Max VIX fear right here, okay? And it was a brutal crash, very quick, very precipitous. 35% down over just a few weeks, okay? Recovered quickly, though, because governments started printing money and all that kind of stuff in the same way you might see, okay, it'll recover quickly because deals start getting made, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, so far, we are only 12.5% off the highs, only in technical correction zone. In order to enter a technical bear market for the S&P 500, you need a 20% price down, which is here at around 4,900. Okay, so that's just below this key area of probably price support here. Okay. Now, if we were to go down 35% here, let's put on the weekly charts here. 200-week EMA right now around 4,700. So that would probably line up with a technical bear market, 27% drawdown, but 35% gets us right back down here to the mid and sort of mid 23 range, let's say. 2 years of stock market gains erased potentially, if that were to happen, if we have this being as bad as the COVID sell-off, which that might be a bit much, to be honest, but we shall see what happens. But it's actually encouraging to see the VIX pumping so much. That means that we're probably getting closer to a market bottoming scenario based off of all the fear of the markets right now, okay? But let's see what happens. The VIX can still go a lot higher. Market turmoil can still be a lot more pronounced. Futures down over 3% right now. Brutal. That open today on U.S. markets is going to be savage, guys. So watch out below. Gosh darn. Okay. How is his hat too big and too small at the same time? It's magic, man. Magic. How high could AVAX go? You know what? Let's save that for another day, my man. Let's save that for another day. Thank you, Southern Stacker, and I hope you have a good day. If the economy completely crashes, what are you all worried about? Won't matter for potentially a decade. Complete economic failure inevitably will lead to a massive near-peer war. They are playing with dangerous forces out there. You open up Pandora's box, and a lot of crazy shit that you don't expect can happen can happen. The harder the fall, the harder the bounce. Well, if Tom Lee's predictions are correct, and we see the worst of the market pain coming over the next few days, today's close, the weekend's probably going to be rough, Monday, Tuesday, let's say, but then by the 9th of April, when more resolution comes in here with these tariffs being enacted, maybe that's when we get our bounce. Maybe that's when the V-shaped recovery comes in. Hard to say, though. Again, a lot of fear in the markets right now. You know, anybody telling you they have a crystal ball about what's going to go on? They don't know. We are in pretty uncharted territory currently. Did you re-enter Fartcoin? I have not. I have not. I'm sitting on the side for that right now. We'll see how it plays out. I'm still a Fartcoin fan, guys, but gosh darn, under the current circumstances, I feel like that's one that could go a lot lower in the short term. I'm so tired of winning. Oh, aren't we all? Your titles are often lagging behind events. I feel like today's title's pretty on point to what's going on, but maybe I'm wrong. Every single chart is trash. Why do you all want to see them? It's masochistic. We like looking at the pain, punishing ourselves. Tom Lee just caused people's portfolios down 7% in 2 days. I'm speaking into existence, aerodrome to the moon. You know, there's a lot of, there is a lot of, really great farming opportunities out there still. Aerodrome. I mean, if you like aerodrome, why not be farming it now? If you're just sitting on some assets, you're sitting on some ETH, you're sitting on some stable coins, like it's a great time to be farming. Just zone out a bit from the craziness of the charts and just farm. Like aerodrome is going to be there on base, you know, farm the coin, chill, relax. Pretty sure the majority are veterans in crypto. It's a coffee show. No offense, Lark. I would say no. I'd say the majority are not. I mean, look, there's plenty of you guys who have been here for years, right? And I hope that you appreciate these videos, me breaking down the news and the macro and all that kind of stuff. But Peter, there's definitely a lot of new people coming in the market all the time. So I always try to keep that in mind when I'm making content, to not pitch everything at too intense of a niched out level, because I know that a lot of people are new to the markets and need sort of, you know, simpler breakdowns. What the heck's going on? They're going to print more. Eventually they will, but it's not going to be the first course of action. In order for them to print, you're going to need a lot more economic pain than we're currently seeing. And they're not going to print to save the stock markets, okay? But they will print to save the economy. I actually thought today's title was fair, to be honest. Trying, guys. I'm trying. I lose sense of reality with thumbnail titles. So, yeah. 35-cent aerodrome seems like a steal. Well, Travis, it depends on what goes on in the markets over the next few weeks. It does seem like a steal, and it's what? Is that 90% under its all-time highs now or something like that? Maybe 80%. Can still go lower. If we get stock markets crashing for the next few weeks and we really get 20%, if we get a technical bear market on the stock markets, I'm sorry, but altcoins are going to go a lot lower from here. unfortunately. Short-term pain, long-term gains. You know, I really think that at some point they are going to pull off an epic bull run, but we have to get through this first. Don't know how long it takes, guys. It's going to take weeks. It's going to take months to recover from this. You know, do we still get that M2 correlation? So we get at the very least a big fat relief rally in April and May. No, not April, but May and June. Let's see. But still opportunity for that to happen. But if that doesn't happen, then maybe Q3, Q4 looks pretty good. Doesn't matter. I'll be here. You guys will be here. Markets will recover. Take more off the table next time. Plan for it. How many of y'all play poker? I feel like there's a lot of poker players in cryptos. Yeah, I think there is. I think there definitely is a lot of poker players. Lark, just be more positive. You know, it's going to pump high soon. I mean, Zane, I'm just trying to give you guys what's going on right now, okay? I don't want to say, you know, go remortgage your house and go all in on crypto. It's going to pump soon. Charts are looking absolutely cooked right now. There's a lot of headline risk for people. And so just keep those things in mind when you're looking at the market right now, okay? Understand that altcoins, risky things can get really hit hard, okay? I'm not saying, you know, don't invest in any crypto, please zone out, walk away for years, only come back top last next time and stuff like that. No, I can keep paying attention, right? I'm not trying to be stuck in the mud here. It's that this is what's happening right now. You have to understand, there is a freight train hitting the markets right now, okay? And you can not want the freight train to be there, but the freight train is there right now. Okay, you can either get out of the way of that freight train or stand in front of that freight train and say, there's no freight train, we need to be more positive. Freight train don't give a shit. Okay, so just FYI, I'm not trying to be overly negative. Okay, nor do I want to sort of sell false hope that we're going to instantly moon back up. It's a complicated situation, and we are in very uncharted economic times right now. These are the highest tariffs in over 100 years. Okay, this is extreme what's going on right now, and it has extreme implications, and we're already seeing how negative the markets are reacting. And you can have your hopes about how, oh my gosh, look at this. We are going to be in for a slaughter fest today, guys. Hold on to your butts. Check this out. Stock futures down 3.8% already today. Brutal. So, I mean, I can be more positive if you want, but that's not going to change the fact that the market's freaking the F out right now and that we're almost down 4% on stock futures currently. So that's pretty brutal. That's pretty brutal. Down there. Yep. This brings us almost back to the yen carry trade, the lows of the yen carry trade sell-off. Interesting. Almost a whole year of gains in the market just gone. Markets are hilarious, man. I love this shit. I don't understand farming and airdrops. I'll have to do a farming and airdrop video for you guys. I think there's some pretty cool opportunities out there right now, especially when the markets are slow. Like, may as well take some time, go do some farming and stuff like that. Donald Trolls Energy, what's up with the Sui farming? There's actually some pretty cool stuff farming Sui right now too. You know what? Next week, we're going to do some farming, guys. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do some damn farming next week. Find some opportunities for you guys. Share them here on the channel for you, okay? Just invert your charts. Everything looks great. I know. One or two more here for you today, guys, then we'll finish up. Should have shorted Tesla instead of buying in, Lark. Yeah, maybe. Well, had I shorted Tesla when I bought in, I would have been stopped out because it went much lower. But still, wait, I mean, well, it might go down a lot today, but it's still at 267, and I bought it like 230. So, you know, I'm still up $37 per share on my Tesla. That may go down much more between here and then, man, but so far it's pretty good. So far, so good. Knock on wood. Hey, you know, if it goes under 230 again, I'll buy some more. Fuck it. Okay. Probably going to be a big dip. Hard to time the market, though. I'm just going to stand pat. Yeah, sometimes you can just sit and watch, man. Sit and watch the crazy take place. Might take a gold coin to the coin shop and convert it to powder. Not a bad idea. Gold's pretty damn high right now. Just the beginning on free fall now, unfortunately. Lark, because of your advice, I made sure to take my gains for all this hoopla. Good. I'm glad people got some money out of the market. That's good. Let's do it. I'm in for some farming, Lark. Yeah, we'll do some farming, guys. Wait for an uptrend. Well, you know, that's the thing too. People are always very impatient to get back into the market and to rush into things, but realistically, you can just wait for things to reverse. You know, you might miss out on a few percentage points of gains, but you don't have to perfectly time the bottom. You can actually wait for markets to reverse, start definitively taking those 20-day EMAs back out, actually put some trend reversal kind of stuff, and then move higher. You can do that. Anyway, guys, we're going to finish up there for today. It's going to be a crazy weekend. It's going to be a crazy day with futures down 4% already. Hold on to your butts. It's going to get crazier and probably worse before it gets better, but it will get better. Maybe not super soon, but it will get better, guys. So hang in there, hang tight. We'll be okay. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back on Monday for the next live stream. We got some videos coming forward the weekend too. So make sure to check that stuff out, and I'll see you. Peace.